Alright, this is a help video for Wednesday's homework. I'm going to go through page 236, number 24, give you guys an idea of what this looks like. We will have what this is. It says y equals 4e to the negative x. It has the function laid out approximately like this. And it's clearly going from 0 to 2 with 4 boxes. And so it wants an upper and a lower sum to approximate the area. So this is what we have. Notice that we do have a number of boxes, which is 4. So let's work this out. Now, unlike my last one, we will not need to actually put this into summation notation because we're only doing 4 boxes, not 100 or even 17. So again, the first step, determine what delta x is equal to, which is, in this case, 2 minus 0 over 4. In other words, 1/2. And you could probably see that from the picture as well. So this is delta x. And then, unlike my my previous video, for this one, we're just going to actually plug in each of the individual x values that we've chosen and see what y values we get and just add those up on a calculator. Really nothing fancy here. So we do still have to be careful about right and left endpoints. Right and left points, sorry. So we have, I'll just make a list of them. We have 0, then 1/2, then 1, then 3/2. Those are left endpoints. Notice one of them is 0. And then for this one, for the right endpoints, we have 1/2, 1, 3/2, and 2. Notice the only difference between these is that here we're using A and the 3 points in the middle, and here we're using B and the 3 points in the middle. That really is something to notice later on. But so this again, together with finding delta x and drawing the picture, is step 1 from the previous videos. Okay, so now let's actually calculate f of 0. Well, f of 0, e to the 0 is 1, so we have 4 times 1, which is 4. Then we have f of 1/2 is 4 times e to the negative 1/2, which I have no idea what that is, so I'm going to plug that into the calculator. 4 e to the negative 0.5, and that gives me approximately 2.426. I'm not going to do any more than that. I'm just going to do 3 decimal places for now. This is 0.000. And then, let's see, f of 1 is 4e to the negative 1. All right, well, that's not so bad. 4e to the negative 1. All right, 1.472. I rounded a little bit, but it's not that much different. And then f of 3/2 is 4e to the negative 3 over 2, or 1.5, depending on whether you use decimals or not. All right, 4e to the negative 1.5. Whoa. Okay, and that's about 0.893. All right, So again, I did some rounding on these. All I'm going to do is just add them all up. So 4 plus 2.426 plus 0.472 plus 0.893, and I get a total of 8.791. Now, is this done? Not entirely. This is all the y values added up. This is the sum part. Remember what we're doing. AL. Whoa. That's crazy L. Remember, if this is what we're actually doing, is we're doing the sum from I equals 1 to, 4. Because we have, and n is 4, we have 4 boxes, of f of x sub I times delta x. Don't forget about the delta x. Now, we didn't use that in this, because remember, this is constant, so we can just multiply it after we know what the sum is. But here's the sum. We added all these together. Notice no summation notation here. We just calculated each individual thing and added them all together. Now, is that something you want to do when you have 100 boxes and you have to do this 100 times? No, absolutely not. That's why we use the summation notation, is for situations like that, but this is good practice for just having the actual process down. Okay, so now that we know what the sum of all the y values is, we can just multiply by delta x, which is 1/2. So 8.791, well, remember this is approximately, times 1/2. So just divide that answer by 2, and you get 4.396. Okay, so this is our left endpoint approximation. Now, one of the things that makes this very simple is to do both. Is notice the only thing that changes is we drop this one and we add in this one. Okay, so in order to get the right endpoint, we ignore this one and instead do f of 2, which is 4 times e to the negative 2. Or in other words, 4 e to the negative 2, my calculator says 0.514. I'm sorry, 541. Okay, so we're adding I mean, if you want to be picky and do it in the correct order, we're doing this one first for the right endpoints, 2.426, and then this one next, 1.472, and then this one next, 0.893, and then this one last, 0.541. So again, when we were doing the left endpoints, we started with left, 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 left. We're going this way, right? With the right endpoints, we did right endpoint, right endpoint, right endpoint, right endpoint. So again, we're going to the right, not to the left. So these points down here are the ones over here. These ones, in their correct order, are these 4 right here, those y values. The y values that you get from those particular x values. Okay, so I hope that makes sense at this point. So now, again, for this one, we get a slightly different sum. But instead of adding all this together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 8.791, I'm going to subtract 4 from it, and then add 0.541, because I'm a mathematician and I'm lazy. So 8.791 minus 4 plus 0.541, and that gives me 5.332. Now, this is almost the right side estimate. Remember, we have to take that 5.332 and multiply it by 1/2, or divide it by 2, whichever way you like to think about that, And so that's approximately 2.667. Okay, again, rounding issues. Actually 6. All right. Okay, so now we have two estimates. One puts it at about 4.4, the other one at about 2.7. Okay, and remember from the video, what we can do is we can add those two together, 4.396, and divide by 2. And our best estimate then, all right, I'm gonna circle in blue the two answers we have. The right endpoint is here, the left endpoint is here, and the average of the two is 3.5. Okay, all right, so there is just the one example of doing both sides. You don't have to average them in the end, but this is just doing right endpoint, left endpoint, and a little bit of a shortcut for not having to do all of the work both times. Once you've plugged them in and got an estimate for them, I would still like to see when you're doing the right estimate to write out all the things you're adding up, because again, I need to see some work for this. So yes, you could just type all these into your calculator and come up with a single number, cut it in half on your calculator and come up with a single number. But I would like to see what it is that you're putting into your calculator in the first place in order to get that, because that's where I can give you partial credit. And again, if you do this shortcut where you just you drop off the 0 and you add in the 2, so in other words, you drop off the 4, the y value of 4, and you add in the y value of 0.541. I do still want to see a list of the numbers you're adding together to get that. But yeah, I hope this helps for number 25 and number 23. They're a lot less complicated than the example that I was doing in the video. All right.